Fell in love with a widow. She had 8 kids. Got married at 39. For me, first time. Her, obviously, second time. I discussed with my wife, and I told her, I'm going to pay this mortgage off in 2 years. So we sat down on that curb on the sidewalk there, and I had the time to read her a book and enjoy the morning with zero stress.
Zero stress.
You do have to come up with a game plan, a system, and you got to stick to it.
Okay, today we're in Scottsdale, Arizona. We're going to be meeting up with Grant Jurvakainen, a successful salesperson and homeowner and a family man. Today he's going to tell us a story about how he purchased his house and with a very short time paid it off. Going to explain the sacrifices he made and the challenges he had to go through to make this happen.
Fell in love with a widow. She had 8 kids. Got married at 39. For me, first time. Her, obviously, second time.
And how old were you when you got married?
39.
So you guys were both 39, and she was a widow with how many kids?
8 kids.
With 8 kids. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a change for you.
Big change. I was a single guy roaming around the world. Work hard, play hard. So I was fortunate enough to be working in the oil field at the time. And I said, I'm going to pay this mortgage off quick. Get the big bill out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I discussed with my wife, and I told her, I'm going to pay this mortgage off in 2 years. And she said, why don't we just refinance to a 15-year mortgage or something like that? And I said, no, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how about 10 years? That's more realistic. So I was working 20 days on, 10 days off every month in the oil field, flying away from home, and never really was like a huge goal setter. I knew that if you're going to set a goal, you got to have a system.
Mm-hmm.
In hindsight, I didn't even know what my system was. People train those systems in financial training or other training deals, and in hindsight, my system was every time I came home after a 20-day hitch, I would grab my checkbook and go to the bank and write a nice sized check, principal only.
Yes.
So at that time, sometimes I'd write a check for $5,000, sometimes $10,000, sometimes 20, doesn't really matter. But the system was you stay in the system and you write a check no matter what every month.
Mm-hmm.
I realized at the time there's going to be no four-wheelers for me, no boats.
No luxuries.
No luxuries.
It was all focus.
It was just hyper-focus.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is once you get in that zone, you actually kind of get addicted to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd actually look forward to coming home and writing a substantial check on the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, my wife, she actually supported me in this deal, this endeavor. We both talked about it, and she was phenomenal through it all. Mm-hmm. Huge support. And at the time, she was able to be a stay-at-home mom also, and keep the family unit intact, nurture them, provide for them at the home front while I was gone working. Mm-hmm. The beauty is actually in the struggle.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess one of my biggest struggles was flying away from home, working 20 straight days. My hourly weeks were 80-hour weeks at a minimum, up to 110, 120-hour weeks. Mm-hmm. And this was in the oil field patch, negative 40-degree winters where you're working in. And when they say blood, sweat, and tears to accomplish things, that actually really was right. It.
Yeah.
I stuck to it every month. There's months, obviously, that you had better ideas with the money, but I kept at it. And 2 years to the date of setting that goal, I paid off my final payment on the mortgage. quick little story here. We're coming up to a place where I was able to live in the present with my 7-year-old daughter at the time. She was 7, she's 9 now. So if you roll down this window, we'd bike every morning through the neighborhood, and there's this free library book place where you give or take a library book.
This is right here.
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
So we pull up there one morning, we're on our bikes, and she's like, Dad, can I grab a book? I said, sure, let's stop. So we put the bikes down. She grabs a book, and it's about 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
Nice, beautiful morning in Scottsdale. And she grabs a book, and usually we'd bring the book home, and I'd go to work or whatever. But she's like, hey, do you want to read this book to me right here? I'm like, right now? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. So we sat down on that curb on the sidewalk there, and I had the time to read her a book and enjoy the morning with zero stress.
Zero stress.
On a more spiritual sense, all my thanks goes to God, my Heavenly Father.
Yep.
He gave me the IQ. He gave me the health every day to get up and go to work. He gave me the stamina to work 110-hour weeks. He gives all. So I always tell people and myself, we always have to remember that. Without him, we're nothing. So in hindsight and moving forward, paying off a mortgage or creating goals and accomplishing them, once you get done with it, there's massive gratitude.
So my question for you, Grant, is as a result of you achieving this goal, how has it changed you as an individual?
Once you set a goal and you actually accomplish it, how you change and transform as a person, I would say it brings a lot of confidence to you. Like now you did it, you planned it, you succeeded. What's next, you know?
Right.
What's next? And I'll be totally honest and vulnerable. I accomplished that goal, my wife and I, and we've been kind of playing a little too much. And, you know, I like honesty, I'll be honest. I've been a little stagnant. So then now I got Johnny here. Thank you, Johnny.
That's me.
Yep. Very, very good guy, people. He keeps pushing people. He pushes himself. So actually, this whole interview right here was like getting back out of my comfort zone. I've been complacent. I've never done an interview type setting like this. And by accomplishing that last goal and succeeding, it actually gave me strength to actually do this. And by actually doing this, I'm spreading my wings once again, which is going to give me fuel, my wife and I, where we actually got to set another goal. We got to set a goal. Maybe a decent sized goal.
Right.
And we know now we can do it.
Right.
Because we did it once.
Totally.
Let's do it again. Let's duplicate it. Let's scale up.
Yep. And I think the path to success and fulfillment, whatever your goal is it's straight through discomfort.
Yes.
It's putting yourself in situations where you're not comfortable. Because by default, if you're trying to become that next level of self, it requires discomfort. It requires you to be in situations that you've not been in before. So that's the cost of change.
That is the cost. And I've learned going through that discomfort, going through the struggle is not going to kill you. It's just going to make you stronger.